let's pivot to somebody who deals with these agents and welcome in Notre Dame General Manager Mike Martin. Mike, thank you so much for joining us here today. We appreciate it. I hope your signing day is going well. I just kind of want to jump right into it, man. You made the transition from the NFL to college. I'm just kind of curious, like, how did that transition go from running things on the NFL level and helping out there to pivoting and running a college scouting recruiting department?
I think the transition's gone well. We talk about bumpy road to better. There were some bumps in the beginning. I mean, it was a transition, going from, working exclusively in the NFL, only being familiar with sort of that landscape to coming to college. And there's a lot of different rules, a lot of dynamics, from, admissions to academics to compliance. There's just so many different factors that, I just wasn't familiar with. The recruitment part, recruiting part, which, is a big job in itself. But we have an awesome staff here, recruiting staff that really helped me in that transition, along with the coaching staff and Marcus Freeman. So, couldn't ask for a better situation.
Marcus Freeman always makes it clear he wants to be the best recruiter, the most active recruiter in that building. What have you seen from him on that front since arriving and just kind of partnering him to build in one of the best classes in America?
He says he wants to be. He is. He is absolutely the most active. And he. It's funny. I've been a lot of different places, even as a scout and going into places. And I know the coaches. It's not always the most exciting thing for them to do is the recruiting part of it. But he sort of relishes in it, and he appreciates it and understands, that he needs to be involved at a high level to get the type of players and young men that we want in here. And he does just an awesome job. There's times where, I'll tell you, like, our staff, we have a long list of guys we want to call and reach out to. And, we're thinking, man, he's got game plan. He's got all these different things to do, and we don't want to put too much on his plate. But he'll call down to us like, hey, what are we doing? What do we got? And so he's really hands-on with that. And he's just been awesome, man. It's such a blessing to work with a guy like that that's motivated to help us on the recruiting side.
Mike, we speak to recruits throughout the recruiting cycle and, guys that go on visits or guys that go to games or the conversations that they have with Notre Dame. And it's always positive feedback. They talk about, the Lucky Charms and they talk about the Pot of Gold Day. And there's so many different dynamics. How do you balance the appeal and the brand of Notre Dame and some of those natural recruiting advantages with now the NIL space?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, right? Because you want people to focus on the values that Notre Dame has to offer and what we stand for. But this is also there's a business side to it, now as it relates to the NIL things in the space, NIL space. But I think we do a nice job of sort of bringing it back to who we are, and we really believe in. It's not really hard to sell who we are. We believe in the academic portion. We believe in, hey, look, we are going to chase national championships on the field, and we're going to compete at the highest level. But we're also going to compete at the highest level, off the field, in the classroom, developing young men to be, the sons, the fathers, the husbands that, that they're intended to be. And so I think it makes it a little bit easier, even though, again, some of the business aspects can be challenging. I think when you stay consistent with who you are, I think it tends to work out.
Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot here. I think all of your guys have officially signed, so you're allowed to talk about them. Former NFL guy, you said it. You've been out on the road, scouted all these individuals. I mean, is there one or two guys in this signing class that you're like, yep, this is the one? He reminds me of this, or I think this of him.
Man, I don't want to single out one. I think we have a bunch, man. We got a bunch of young men, and I definitely don't want to leave anyone out. But I will say that we brought in tremendous talents on the offensive side, the defensive side. We brought in size along the offensive line, speed at the wide receiver position. We brought in guys that, also bring size at the wide receiver position, strong hands, ball skills, run after catch ability. On the defensive side, defensive line in the front, we brought in some anchors there, along with guys that'll be able to help us in terms of getting after the quarterback and rushing the passer. And I'm really excited about the backfield, defensive backfield. The secondary. We have shutdown corners there and some dynamic players at the safety positions that can help us take the ball away. And we know how important possessions are. And so when you can take the ball away and give our offense more possessions, it's a tremendous help. And in our backfield, we're bringing in a couple talented running backs that I think have the ability, could play it anywhere in the country. And we're grateful that they chose here. And we also brought in a really talented quarterback that we think will help this program. And so, happy about how it worked out. Excited. I will say that all of our guys got their grenades back in about 20 minutes or less. So, I think that speaks to their excitement and how locked in they were. And we also, I'll say that I think we may be the only Power 4 school to not have any decommitments. And so I'm really excited of all the stats. I think I'm the most proud of that.
Mike, thank you so much. Congrats on an incredible class. The recruits rave about you. You're doing a phenomenal job. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you guys having me on, and go Irish.
All right, Andrew Ivins. He didn't necessarily single anybody out, but you know what? I want you to.
Well, he talked about the secondary, and it's kind of more of the same. And I've said that a few times when we've done some pre-signing day stuff. I mean, I love this group. Joey O'Brien, he's in that Kyle Hamilton type of mold. He's got the best ball skills when we talk about the safeties in this class, guys at the top of the board. Hudson Sanders on the scouting department. You mentioned earlier in the show, hey, Braylon Womack, hey, Jet Washington. How do you figure out which one you're going to name a 5-star? And we have this thing called a blue star prospect where you're going to stand on the table for him. That is Joey O'Brien for Hudson Standish. I think he's a robber. He can get sideline to sideline. Aiden Pouncey, a major riser from us right in my backyard there at Winter Park High School. Guy was excellent as a senior on both sides of the ball. And then the offensive line, it's like, okay, you look at this group, it's like these guys can contend for a Joe Moore Award trophy at some point down the line. Tight end, they add Ian Primer, our number 1 ranked tight end, the only 5-star tight end in the class for us. And he's a game wrecker, right? He's a guy that could have played college basketball. And then on top of all this, I think where they're really getting better is at wide receiver. I think they have five of them committed. If we all had to list them and sort them, where you're going to get 5 different opinions, and that's because of how good they are. Group is led by Devin Fitzgerald, Larry Fitzgerald's kid. It also includes Jordan Faison's younger brother, Dylan Faison, who's also a talented lacrosse player. A lot to like, and I think this is going to be the highest recruiting class for Notre Dame since 2008. Does that sound right, Tom?
Yeah, that sounds right, man. Really good job by the staff all in.